Happy Christmas, everybody.
Happy Christmas.
So nice to finally see you. Don't the candles look beautiful? It's very nice. You know, I remember I was watching the oratorio, maybe, I don't even think I had been on the path 1 full year yet. And it was in Palo Alto in Silicon Valley, and a group of people came from the village and from all around, and they were on stage, and Swamiji sang with the oratorio people, which he didn't always do. And I just, during that oratorio was when I suddenly had this very strong feeling in my heart that Yoganandaji was Christ in a past life. And it doesn't mean I'm right. You know, I haven't had some self-realization type realization about it. But this was before Swamiji would have ever mentioned this in public or even in private to many people. And it's not something that one can proclaim with complete knowledge, but it's very nice that Swamiji had this video where he said this. It was kind of a confirmation. He did this not too, when did he do this?
2012.
Yeah, so not too soon before his death. I think he was trying to help clear up a few things. But when I had that sense, I burst out crying, not like, "Wah!" But I was, crying in my chair. And part of it had to do with this conflict I had within myself about Jesus Christ, the guy that Christians say they believe in. And at the time, I had kind of disregarded that religion altogether, and I blamed Christ for it. But this whole realization, plus Master's teachings, really healed this connection to this beautiful avatar that now I have no issues with at all, and don't blame him for churchianity, which is what Master liked to call it, churchianity. But having the thought that Yoganandaji was Christ was possibly similar to any of you realizing that Yoganandaji said he was Arjuna. And maybe not so far out, because we know in India, it's common knowledge, avatars reincarnate, people reincarnate, souls reincarnate, so it makes sense. But still, you get the sense of continuity for this round of yugas we're in, with Treta and Satya and Dwapara descending and then going back up. You see how, of course, Dwapara Yuga on the other side, descending, this is when the Gita had to come into writing as opposed to just being the song, because people couldn't remember anymore. People couldn't think, they were thinking more and more on a material level. And so you see how our masters appeared then and began ushering us through the dark side of this round of yugas. It's very interesting seeing how Yoganandaji had his role. I don't know, do we know? I mean, obviously we know who Krishna was. But did Master say who any of the others were possibly in the...
I don't know in that time.
Yeah, just in that time. But anyway, they seem to kind of get grouped together a bit. So it wouldn't be surprising if perhaps during the Mahabharata these people had some major roles that they were playing, and that while we're reading the Gita, maybe Sri Yukteswar's name could be interchanged with someone else's name. So just to know that these masters cared so much, they were assigned to this planet, obviously, to help us through the descending aspects through Kali Yuga, and then here we are in the ascending Dwapara. And Christ came, again, we have these same gurus. This time Yoganandaji made it quite clear, almost, that the three wise men are up here. And again, a great avatar had been born. Right at the bottom of Kali Yuga. Now this is when all people's consciousnesses around the world is at their lowest ability to perceive the unseen, which is our whole goal of Kriya Yoga. Except for those lucky sages who got to be in the Himalayas or who were sprinkled throughout even Christianity. There were saints that actually were not just embedded in belief, but that were embedded in their experience of God. Saint Teresa of Avila. Many people Yoganandaji would talk about, like Saint Francis of Assisi and many other saints, that their theme of knowing God was through joy, not just through self-punishment and that kind of thing. But so again, during this time when Christ was born, there's this huge light that came onto the planet at a time when people's consciousnesses were about to get uplifted again. You see? So right at the bottom of Kali Yuga, there needed to be a great light, a great avatar to come in and help us all, whoever we were back then, uplift ourselves to come back to where we are now with another round of the gurus. Isn't that fun? And most likely we've all been with them many, many times before. There wouldn't be such a remembrance, such a inner knowledge or a ringing true of our knowing them so well. So I always like to think of Christmas as this time of great, great light coming in. And it was always so fun when we moved to India that Diwali was the festival of lights, and that Swamiji had written a festival of light. And so again, the theme of light during this whole holiday season from Diwali, I was so happy to learn about Diwali because at the time when we first came, lots of Indians had moved to America, but somehow Diwali wasn't integrated into the U.S. quite yet. Now, people are celebrating Diwali quite a bit in the U.S. with so many Indians coming there and being successful and having an influence on society. Thank goodness. And so, from the time Diwali comes in, we get to have that first awareness of light, and that deep holiday in itself, when we meditate on Diwali and celebrate Diwali, at least inwardly, although all the crackers remind us of it, it begins that season when the veil between ourselves and the unseen is much thinner, and where God consciousness is much more available to us. And so then we can take advantage of this time from Diwali through Christmas of really being able to feel the specialness in the air, the feeling that the Christ consciousness, the Krishna consciousness is available to us much more easily during this time. And not that it's so difficult at other times, but since there's a sparkle in the air and an opening of the veil, why not take advantage of it? So that's why we like to have so much celebration during this time, to be able, especially the all-day meditation, being able to go so deep during that meditation and take advantage of the veil that's been opened. So God bless you all for coming.